All right, good morning, everybody. Let's see if I can get myself centered a little bit better over here. Actually, what I need to do, let's try and change this. There, that'll be a little bit easier. I had to move the camera around yesterday. So I hope everybody's having a great morning. I'm having a solid morning, and I know many of our Moxy subscribers are having a great morning. I'm sure a lot of you are here. Rubberhead, good to see you. Yes. Claudia, good to see you as well. I know I always have a bunch of the Moxy subscribers here because they love to see get more of me talking about the markets and what's going on. So thank you for making this all look good. And to anybody else who's new, don't know anything about me, or you're just coming around here and seeing this, my name is TG Watkins. I'm over here at ProfitPilot.com, and I have the Moxy indicator, so I call it the Moxy group. But if you're interested in finding out more about me, we have links in the chat group here, and it's about ProfitPilot.com. And the last newsletter I wrote here, which longer time, well, actually not that one, there was even one more, but the longer time frames let you see the bigger picture. This is the crux of the market right now. If we look at the monthly chart mostly, we're seeing that a lot of names have really taken off during the coronavirus pandemic and all that stuff. Think of big cap, they have done super well. But where have they been for the last few months? Not kind of going anywhere. And you're kind of thinking, what's going on? Like, are they just going sideways? Are they going to roll over? Are things finally going to catch up? Well, if you look at the monthly chart, you'll notice that a lot of these things have actually started running into their monthly 10 SMA, and that's actually a pretty good long-term bullish signal if they bounce right off of it. So we'll talk about that on a few of these things. And let's see, do we actually have that other one up yet? Let me just click on the home button, see how long this takes. Okay, so we must be sending that out today. I kind of forget, Wednesday. So yeah, we'll be sending the next letter out today, talking about trading and versus kind of holding longer, and how do you know when that's going to be happening with these footsteps. And then we do still have the video up here, the recording from, it says 93% in 11 days. It actually turned out to be 102 and 112% in 12 days. And we are on another winning streak. It must be 3 days at this point of a winning streak. So we are having a great time. And I know the Moxy people are real happy about it. So we're having a good time over there in the chat room. And so let's kind of get to the markets, show you a few things, and then you guys, let me know what you're looking at. Feel free to drop some questions or some tickers or something in the chat box here, and I'll take a look at them and see what else we can find. I've been a little bit narrowly focused on my names because we're doing so well with them. It's kind of like I don't need to go anywhere else and go shopping. So I want to make sure I'm not getting too many blinders put on, and I want to see what else is going on out there. So we'll talk about gold too. Now, I don't always use Fibonacci's, but it was brought to my attention that if we take, this one's not going to work. Let's pull this one up. If we take the high and the low from the COVID lows in the market and we do the extensions, the S&P, let me get this up here, is coming up on the 127 extension. Very close. As I said, I don't usually use these, but sometimes it's good to know, good reference, and we're coming up there. So number one, it can act as a magnet. Why price just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding higher without much action. And this is what I keep telling my subscribers and a lot of people out there, that if you're looking at just the market, you're really missing everything else that's happening underneath the surface. It's incredible what's going on there, and yet the market isn't really doing much. And what we can see is it just keeps kind of going up and up and up and up and up. Like, what is it doing? Just a little bit every day, just a little bit up there, up there, up there. Now, we do need to watch out. I feel like I'm Chicken Little saying the world is going to, like the sky is falling. I don't think it's going to be catastrophic, but I do think that we are due for some sort of pullback, some sort of dip, and I keep talking about it, and it doesn't happen yet, but I keep seeing things that are telling me that something's going to be happening here. One of that might be the 127 extension. Maybe we go up there, we tap it, maybe we kind of get close, I don't know. But the other thing I look at is price on the hourly chart has not touched the hourly 50 for quite some time. And that is a thing that I talk about often and frequently, and that's how I trade, and that's what I look at. The fact that price just kind of keeps going like this, kind of just up, but there's still that air pocket between price and the hourly 50 is concerning, and we need to be aware of that. I'm also seeing that it's not necessarily negative divergence, but it's almost a little bit of lack of support. Look at how price has been going up like this at, I don't know, 30-degree angle or something. Look at the Moxy indicator. You see how it's kind of trending down. that doesn't match. And that is something where the indicator, the Moxy indicator, is trying to communicate to us and say, you need to be aware of this. Why does price keep going up, but the indicator kind of not doing much? It kind of is lackluster. So I do think that something is around the corner. We don't know when it's going to break, what it's going to do. I don't think it's going to be devastating, but I think that it would be smart to look at some of your positions and say, are there any weak hands? Could I shave a little bit off? Whatever, because if a pullback does happen, take a little off the top and then buy more at the bottom. And that's what we do as traders, and we need to just kind of understand when, maybe it's not the ripest time to go really load up long on some of this stuff. And if we look at SMH, which is the semiconductors, look at what's going on here, and I'll blow this up on the higher time frame. This is another thing that I keep talking about, saying, this thing is up in the nosebleed section. I use the ATRs as kind of an example. Third ATR, a little bit of third ATR there, third ATR, third ATR, third ATR, and third ATR. And what's happened after each one of them? They've done some sort of pullback. And if we look a little bit closer on SMH, look, does this look like this? And if you say yes, great, you're seeing it, you get it. If you're like, no, I don't understand, well, then you need to do a little bit more experience and a little bit more studying. Come over to the Moxy's subscription. Come over and purchase the Moxy indicator so you can start getting this kind of stuff and understanding. Take my class and all that, because these two things are starting to look very, very similar. Now, I don't know what's in store. I don't know if like this is going to happen or if it's going to be kind of this and then back up. But I'm telling you, something is getting pretty extended here, and we need to be aware of that and start thinking about the consequences of what happens when this grinding up kind of stops. All right, then IWM has been IWM is where the party's at. And I've been saying this thing, I was like looking for this thing to pull back, a while too, but it just kind of keeps going. That's great, but at some point there will be a pullback, even if it's a little pullback, like that, or like that, or like that, like that. We just have to think, what kind of effect will that have on our positions and our account and our balances and our trades? We just need to be aware that these things are kind of getting extended. Again, third ATR, third ATR, third ATR, third ATR, okay? All right, so with that, we can kind of go break off to a couple things. Let's go look at gold. Imran, good to see you. Chris, yes, good morning, first time, welcome. So, as one of my subscribers just said this morning, it might be a bit of a fire hose kind of listening to how I teach and what's going on. But if you're interested, let me just show you this. Go over here, profitpilot.com, click on services. And if you guys want to get up to speed with my lingo and how I see things and how I trade, you can come over here. The subscription is the Moxy Mastery. This is the alert service that I put out. This is where I just show you the trades I do, and you guys can choose to follow them. We've been having a really, really great time. Or you can come over here to the class, the Moxy Stock Method. You can pick up the indicator, the scanner. This is how I find these trades. And you can learn everything that I teach from soup to nuts on this. And yeah, I think that's a great place to go. We've got a lot of good resources. All right, then if we look at gold, and once again, I'll talk about the higher time frame charts. Yes, there's the, I got too many buttons down here. This is the general theme that I'm seeing for a lot of names out there. A lot of names that have either been pulling back or going sideways, and you're thinking, what's going on? Well, you look at the higher time frame charts, and it suddenly shows you a whole lot of context, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it, it makes sense. Look at the distance between price and the monthly 10. We have been off of that thing for quite some time, and at some point it's got to come back down. It's got to come and follow its little yellow brick road and find its support. And what is that? Right here to the monthly 10. And this is on gold, GLD. Let me see, I think silver was doing the same thing. Yeah, look at silver. Silver went vertical. At some point it's not buyable. When price goes up too fast, too far, it's not buyable. And look at that giant gap between price and the monthly 10. Now, it's not exactly at the monthly 10 yet, but what it did is it did pull back and it went sideways. Each of them are going to do their own thing, but they're going to be traveling in packs and they're going to bring their friends. So if one precious metal is doing something, the other one's going to be doing it and mimicking it. Same with tech, same with whatever. They all kind of trade the same based on their group. So let's go over silver on the daily, see if there's any kind of clear indications. Yeah, see, silver's actually looking better, I think, than gold. Gold still has some work to do. But again, they're probably not going to take off until they both take off, but they're getting very, very close. You see here how we had the Moxy price trigger right there. The Moxy, that's when the Moxy indicator goes from negative to positive. That's good news. But what I look for next is I want to see price come back down and either tap the hourly 50 for support, or if it needs a little bit more work, it might actually dip just below and then come back up, and that would be a trampoline move. And again, if you guys don't understand my lingo and stuff like that, come take the class, it's worth it. But a trampoline move is when price is below the 50 and the Moxy indicator is above 0. It's a high pressure, high buoyancy. It's like one of my best trade setups because there's a lot of energy in there coming out of it. And that's what I'm looking for something on silver. And we can see, again, we have the 8 over the 21. That's bullish. That is telling us that things are good. Now, last time it couldn't quite do it. Couldn't quite get past the daily 50. It sure looks to me like it's about ready to do it this time. So if you guys are interested in some silver, or precious metals, it's starting to get there. If we look at GLD, go back there so you guys can kind of see the OG. What do we got here? We got the beginnings of an elf shoe. Here's your leg, here's your heel, here's the arch of your foot, looking for the ball of the foot to come down someplace, then we get the elf toe. And you can see here, price is coming back down to the hourly 50. Now, I drew an X here, and that was a few days ago that I drew it to see where price might go. It may not go exactly there, but the idea is still possible. Like, is it going to exactly bounce off the hourly 50? Or is it going to dip down just below the hourly 50 for a trampoline move and then start to move up? We're never quite sure, and we have to wait and actually look for that confirmation. But I do think that gold is starting to do something and starting to perk up. And if this is your vehicle and this is something you want to do, you better start looking into it. Yeah, Michael, welcome. The Moxy indicator, we are working on that for TradingView. We are actually working hand in hand with their programmers. We got it initially built for it, but then we realized in order to get it out, it was going to be extremely cumbersome for our support staff to get it out because of authorization stuff. So we decided to go talk to TradingView engineers and programmers specifically and say, okay, how do we build this on your platform to make this as streamlined as possible? So that's where we are. We're still working on it. I thought it was going to be out by now, but we're working on it. And the Moxy indicator is not on the monthly chart just because it just doesn't work for it. The way that I built this thing and how I've designed it, it was just too big of a time frame that it just doesn't work. And so when I'm over here on the monthly time frames, you can see I just put in a DPO just to kind of keep my charts looking the same. So the biggest one for the monthly, I really just kind of use the monthly 10. I just want to see where price is in reference to moving averages, to support, to resistance, big picture. But other than that, I don't really trade based off the monthly. I just use it for context, and so the Moxy indicator wasn't necessary over there. And then the ATR ranges are the Keltner channels based off the 21 SMA. All right. And then, yeah, let's see. I haven't got any names. I'm surprised you guys haven't asked me any tickers so far. And Jay, yeah, you've got January calls since summer. Yeah, I think, as I said, I think that they're going to start working out. So if things start working out for you and doing what they want, might be a time to consider to add a little bit more. And then also we are in communication with Tastyworks to get Moxy on there as well, because John Carter actually has a webinar today. I don't know if we can, I'm sure we could post that link too. I forget what it is. But he's going to be presenting tonight with Tom Sosnoff talking about Tastyworks and why John Carter is switching over to that. We're getting a lot of John Carter's and Simpler Trading's indicators on Tastyworks. Mine is definitely in the queue. We're working on it, and so we're going to have Moxy on TradingView. We're going to have it on Tastyworks. We're going to be working on getting it more platforms and out there to suit everybody's needs. So, yep, it's all in the pipeline. All right, let's see, Docu. So a lot of these things, remember, take a look at the monthly chart. Look at Docu, what did it do? It just came back to the monthly 10. Big picture, what is this thing doing? It looks like it's ready to go up again because it has now flagged sideways for several months, just getting closer to these moving average supports. What about on the daily and hourly? Pretty much everything is looking pretty good here. You can see that I drew an X here a few days ago to see if this pullback after earnings, because remember, I don't trade earnings. There's almost always another entry after earnings, so I just don't have to deal with earnings. And you can see here, that's exactly what happened. price ran up into earnings, popped on earnings, and what did it do? It faded right back down to where you could have been in anyway. So you really didn't miss anything for earnings. And right now, same thing as silver. Is price going to bounce exactly off the hourly 50, or is it going to dip just below it? Either way, it seems to me that names like this are starting to look pretty good. This daily chart looking pretty good. We've got the 8 over the 21. It's expanding. It's looking good. We have the daily 50 right here. You know, these things are looking pretty good. Moxy indicator on the hourly chart is also being pretty good. All right, and then let's see what else is going on. Thank you, Sarah. Baba. There we go. Baba, same thing. Been talking about this one for quite some time. Look at the monthly. Look what's going on here. Price is right back down to the monthly 10. So big picture, these things are looking like they're coming back down into support after their really, really big, crazy moves. And then you look here on the daily and hourly, and what do we got? We got an elf shoe. Here's your leg, here's your heel, here's the arch of your foot, there's the ball of your foot, looking for that elf toe. And then trampoline move on the hourly chart. Again, this is all Moxy terminology. It's the Moxy indicator. This is how I trade. It works really well for me. It works really well for my subscribers. But a trampoline move is when price is below the 50, but the Moxy indicator is above 0. It's a high buoyancy type situation. Let me show you a trade that did work for us. BYND. We're having a great day on this one. And we got in yesterday. Look at that. Trampoline move. Price below the 50, the Moxy indicator above 0, boom, starting to move. So yeah, some of the subscribers, I know they took some options on what I put out there, and they're up about 25% just today. So that's a pretty good day. Pretty good day. All right. Yeah, Michael, the NASDAQ is going to be very similar to a lot of these big cap tech stuff. They're all coming into the monthly 10, and they look like they're starting to get going again. Let's look at now. Not usually one I like to trade because it's a kind of messy. A little choppy, a little messy, but the same kind of deal. You can see I drew a line here. Price has been flagging and looks like it's starting to take off again. Price bounce off of the weekly 21, starting to go up again. Let's look at this on the daily and hourly chart. So we had a little bit of confusion. I think this was like the vaccine news, which was kind of ironic that because the vaccine came out, big cap tech actually got hit. Who would have guessed? And since then, it's recovered. But you can see here's your double bottom. There's your positive divergence with the Moxy indicator. There's your price trigger. There's where price bounced off the hourly 50, and it continues to bounce off the hourly 50. And this daily chart looks pretty good. Now I know the Moxy indicator is below 0. We'll have to make sure that that actually starts to recover. But a little dip below 0 and a recovery is fine. So I like to follow the lower time frame charts anyway. And so far everything looks pretty good as price continues to follow the hourly 50. And then AMD, yep, that one's been doing pretty great too. Well, let me show you on the weekly chart. Look what AMD just did. You see the same thing right here, just bounced off of the monthly 10. A lot of these names are doing this, and that's why I'm saying it looks to me like we are at the beginning of a new trend rather than coming towards the end of an old trend. And then let's see what I'm looking for here. And now we never know exactly how precise this is going to be, but it sure looks to me like on AMD that we have a double bottom going into the hourly 50 with the Moxy indicator above 0. And you can see that price is just flagged sideways here into the daily 8 EMA. Looks like that should continue. You know, it can always take a dip here and there, but overall it looks to me like, you know, price had a pretty good move up. It's just digesting that move, and then it's going to want to continue from that point forward. So we'll just have to see what kind of effect the market overall has on that, but you know, overall stuff's looking pretty good. All right, Sono, I know they had their earnings a little while ago, and this is usually why I try not to trade earnings pops too much because they could be a little tricky. Normally, again, I just wait till after earnings. And the biggest thing I do is I wait for price to just run into the hourly 50. That's one way to do it. Now, it looks like it's not quite holding it. Price is kind of dipped below the hourly 50. The Moxy indicator has been bleeding off. It might be a little bit out of steam for now. Okay, so overall, still looks like a pretty good stock. It's still energetic. It's still, you know, up there, elevated. They're not selling it too hard. But you might need to be prepared for this one to actually kind of come down a little bit. Let me show you IIPR because it might do the same thing. what's happening is that for Sono, since it popped so much, it went so far away from its moving averages that it needs more time to go sideways or down in order to find stronger support. Right now, the hourly 50 does not appear to be that support, and the daily 8 EMA does not appear to be that support either. So what it might do is it might want to come down a little bit, run into the daily 21, and then maybe go. So you're going to have to kind of play this one a little bit. Let me show you IIPR. This is one we've been trading a little bit. It's a slower vehicle for me. We've been in it, out of it. I told the Moxy subscribers yesterday that this thing looked pretty good once again. But you can see, same thing as Sono. See how it didn't hold the hourly 50 and the Moxy indicator crossed below zero? Well, what that meant was that price could not hold the daily 8 EMA, and it turns out it wanted to go down closer to the hourly for the daily 21 EMA and a little bit closer to the hourly 200. Sono might be doing the same thing, so kind of look for that, be prepared for it to come back down, find some support, and then hopefully bounce from there. But they look very similar as far as their structures go, and the fact that they're both pretty strong. It's just a matter of going sideways until they actually run into that kind of support. All right, GNRC. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Yeah, big runs, big runs. Looks to me like right now it might be, I don't know, so it's a tough call here between exactly bouncing off the daily 50 and then actually maybe run out of steam for a little bit. I could see on the hourly chart price down, Moxy indicator up, so that could be the start of something kind of going sideways and bouncing off of this stuff. But you know, there's been a pretty good run here. I'm not sure that I'd be super interested in getting right back into something like this for right now. Maybe give it a little bit more time and see if you can actually if it can shape up a little bit more. And what that would look like is I'd want to see price actually hold the hourly 50. And I can't exactly say that it's going to do that right now. So you are kind of in a sticky situation right now because price might continue to go sideways or go down a little bit. I would look for price to hold the hourly 50 to see if this thing can then get back on top of the hourly 200 and continue on the daily chart. And then Sean, let's see, UVXY. UVXY is difficult. I actually went back and I studied some of what's going on with the UVXY in these similar situations to where the market was kind of just grinding higher, and then kind of like went up a little bit. The UVXY does this tricky thing, and I can't promise or guarantee that it's doing this again, but what I will do is I'll kind of plant a seed in your head and we'll see if it does something. A lot of times, I've been talking about this, the UVXY will go sideways, start getting people kind of freaked out and worked up. It's been doing the same for me. And then it'll hit resistance, roll over, and you're thinking, oh great, we're all clear to go. And really all it did is it was like a washout flush in order to then go back up for a little bit. So yes, I like that the UVXY is dipping like this, but it could be, dare I say, a bit of a trap. It could be a little bit of, you know, they're thinking, oh, you know, people who look at this, I look at this, and they're like, oh, this looks great because now the UVXY, VIX is going down. Well, it's like a little bit of a scoop before it goes back up. Let me see if I can kind of find some of those examples. I think like right here would be kind of one. See how price was going sideways, and it did a little scoop, and then it came right back up. So that's what I'm saying. Like UVXY can be weird like this. So don't let that drop make you think that like everything is peachy. Because here's another one, right in through here, and you could see. Let me kind of zoom up on this one. You could see like, you know, sideways, drop, kind of came back, and then sideways, drop, and then it took off. You know, so weird stuff like that. Really kind of, you're going to have to blend between UVXY and the actual market itself to see what's going on. And then Kyle, yeah, I think cannabis overall is great. I think it is the next very strong sector, but I keep telling everybody, like, keep watching it, but I think it might need a little bit more of a break and a breather, because if we look at Cron, see, yeah, it's holding, but it's not quite going yet. So I think it needs a little bit more sideways, a little bit more like this. Maybe it needs a little bit of a dip before it goes back up. I'm very bullish on cannabis, but it hasn't quite gotten into gear ever since this last move up. It might need a little bit more breather, might need a little bit more sideways. You know, if you look at things like VFF, oh yeah, like this, like they've moved huge, and I think that they need a little bit more catch-up time. You know, like this is a big move, and now we're going sideways. We might need to go down a little bit before we go back up. So a little bit of a breather for these things. So cannabis, I love it. I just don't think it's ready right now. Let's see, solo. Yeah, these things are not ready yet. I've been looking at them. I'm kind of thinking that this might be, I call it a bit of a trap. But this is technically an inverse trampoline move. And again, I know I'm using a lot of Moxy references, so come take the class, come join the subscription service. This is how you guys kind of figure out what's going on. But price should not be over the 50 if the Moxy indicator is below 0. So I am not back into the electric vehicle space. I too think that they need more time to cool off. This was some extreme stuff. I doubled my account in 12 days by catching these kind of moves. You can see that I've got my hash marks on them. I've been trading these things and making some really good money off of them. And I think that they need to, they just ran the biggest sprint marathon of their life. And they need to rest. And they need to just recover, and they need to regain their strength for the next time that they want to get going. And I don't think it's quite here yet. All right, let's look at Zoom. And then, yeah, okay, so Amazon, I'm still looking at that. Amazon I like. JK Solar, I think that one still needs a little bit of time. We'll kind of take a look at that. Zoom, let's see, look, big picture, it's still pulling back. It's one of those ones that had a really, really big run. Like, look at how far price is from the monthly 10, and it's still kind of waiting. It's still not quite ready. If we go back to, let's see, kind of slide over here, you know, maybe we're going to get a double bottom. I've been talking about this, you know, here's your double bottom, but I need to see it confirmed. Just because we have a double bottom and positive divergence doesn't mean it's confirmed yet. We are still underneath the hourly 50. It hasn't turned yet, but I'm watching it to see if this thing works. And if it can start to get over these moving averages and use those for support, then I'll be happy to get back into it. But right now, not seeing anything. And let's see, yeah, let's look at Valley. That's one of those. Yep. So the metals and industrial stuff, you know, I saw that it's been taken off. It is not a sector I trade, mostly because if you look at its history, I have not been wanting to trade this stuff. And even here, it's been a little messy. So the fact that it finally took off, I love the idea that it's telling us about the economy. It's telling us that I think things are starting to get back on track. This stuff has been going skyrocket, like upwards, ever since the vaccine news came out. And I think what it's doing is it's indicating that if we get the vaccine and if we get rid of coronavirus, 2021 should be a pretty great year because the economy is going to be roaring back to life. I think that's what this is communicating to us because of all these industrials suddenly just having wild moves like this. So even though I'm not trading them, I haven't caught them, it's not my thing. I like what they say about the market. Now, if you're asking about what to do with it right now, I don't think right now is an entry. If anything, I would be scaling out of this thing. But here's your entry. Here's the Moxy price trigger. Here's your trampoline move. Boom. So once again, I can't make this stuff up, but if you guys are not in Moxy or if you don't have the Moxy indicator, you're missing some of my best trade setups. There is the trampoline move. The scanner, the Moxy scanner, will find these things. It searches for this. It will tell you when these things happen, and it will bring them to you. And then you jump into these things and look at this. Let's look at Valley. From that entry to here, that thing went 37% in 22 days on just stock. All right, and you would have found this thing twice. You would have found it once here and once here with the Moxy price trigger and the Moxy trampoline move. So, all right, well, that's going to be about my time. I want to make sure that if you guys are interested in this stuff, you know, like I said, I love doing this. It's so much fun because you look at that and you're like, I haven't looked at that stock in years, and yet there is the setup, there's the trades, it works. Come over here to the Moxy Mastery, check out the class, get the indicator, you know, do what you guys need to about this stuff, but it brings it to you. So if you're interested, profitpilot.com/services. And until then, thanks for tuning in. I always have a good time with you. Moxy members, good to see you. I'll meet you back over in the trading room. And yeah, you guys enjoy your Wednesday. Let's watch out for that market dip. I tell you, I'm looking for it. I feel like I'm a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, and then maybe a little bit of Chicken Little saying, okay, when's the sky going to come back down on us? But until then, I think dips are going to be bought. Let's look for that. I'd love to have a refresh going into the end of the year, and December should be a pretty good month once we get that dip. All right, guys, you take care.